Hi, this is Krugs from Ace Trading. Today I'm going to talk through how to use one of our bots, the Surfer. The first thing you need to do when using any of our bots at Ace Trading is to import the bots into your system. In order to do that, you head up to Tools, down to Import, and import the Ninja Script add-on. Once you've done that, you then have the bots and the indicators onto your system. Now what we want to do is we want to add our indicators and our bots to our charts. And you can see here we have an NQ 15-minute chart. So the first thing I want to do, because I'm using the Surfer, I want to make sure that I have the wave indicator on, because the Surfer is going to surf those waves. So I'm going to head up to indicators. And because I've imported them previously, you can see that I already have Ace wave here. I'm just going to add that to the chart. I sometimes like to use a swell setting. So swell setting is telling us, it's going to indicate how big or small the wave will be. So a swell reading of 4 for a larger chart, so I'm using 15-minute chart, is generally what I would choose. But for a smaller time frame, I would tend to use a larger swell to get bigger waves. And we'll see that in a second. So I'm just going to apply that. And what you'll see is now we have our waves drawn on our chart. Yes, these are taken off support and resistance points, but there's a lot of internal calculations that are deciding, based on that swell, how big a wave we'd like to serve. Okay, and up the top here we have the top part of the wave, which is coloured blue, and down the bottom here we have a sand coloured wave, so the bottom where the wave meets the sand, so you can see the top and the bottom. And what the Surfer bot is going to do is it's going to take the breakouts of these waves. Okay, so we're looking at here, we've got the end of the day here. So we're starting at 5 o'clock, and you can see there, this first candle, this is the 5 o'clock candle. So we're in Chicago time. Okay, so this is the 5 o'clock candle, which is the market open. So after the end of the day close. And you can see the first candle is actually 5:15. So whenever you're talking about timing with any of the bots, especially with the Surfer, if you want to start the bot at 5 o'clock, you need to make sure you say you started at 5:15, because the 5:15 is the first candle of the trading day. So now let's add on the Surfer bot, and I'll talk to you a bit about the timing settings and the other settings involved. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go up to now strategies. So I right-clicked, went strategies. And then on the left here, you will see the bots that you have imported. You can see I have a fair few bots in here because we are releasing bots each month. So ongoing members will get access to all the bots as part of their membership. So today we're going to talk through the Surfer managed. Okay, and as you can see, that the first thing I need to do is I need to add that bot to the chart. By adding the bot to the chart means now I can actually look at the parameters and input what I would like to do. Okay, so for the 15-minute chart, my go-to is to, depending on my settings, if I'm running a PA account or an evaluation, if I'm running an evaluation account, my go-to is about 25 ticks for the stop loss and about 5 ticks for the take profit. That's like a 1-to-5 ratio with my profit ratio. I can obviously change that, quite different, depending on the market conditions and how confident I have been with that bot so far. I tend to run 4 contracts. If I was going to run 3 contracts, I would obviously try to take a bit more take profit. The swell setting needs to match whatever setting you've put on for the indicator. So before I put a swell setting of 4, so I'm going to keep that. To begin with, I'm not going to actually use a start and stop time. So I'm going to untick that, which means I don't have to worry about putting a start or a stop time in. And what that's going to actually do is just going to run the bot continuously on the chart. Okay. I also now have the option of using profit and loss targets. So often you can put in here how much profit you would like to make for the session, okay, and how much loss you're allowing to have. And then as soon as that profit hits, so that target hits for the profit or the loss, the bot will cease to work and it will just stop working until you reset it. And that's just a bit of a fail-safe to allow us to get our profit for the day. We're running it on the 15-minute chart. We're using playback at the moment for our account. So this is really important. When you click here for your account, you set it to the appropriate account. If you're using a SIM account, make sure you choose that SIM account. An evaluation or a PA, make sure you select that one. Okay. Obviously, we're creating everything on tick calculations. You can change the label if you would like. Wait until flat means that as soon as we start the bot, it's not going to enter a trade until the previous trade has played out. Okay, because often when we start, we can see trades that have already played out. And then we go on to enable. Okay, and what we'll find here is as soon as we press enable, nothing will happen yet. But as soon as I press apply, I will get my bot put onto the screen. And you can see here, there's been some trades already played out. Okay, we have our surfer bot is now activated with our wave crest and our wave trough at the top. So we have our top and our bottom. They were a swell of 4, and I haven't used any timing settings. Okay. Often we don't like to trade that first couple of hours of the day. Okay, my recommendation is to wait. You can see here that because they've closed out some orders and that there's been a bit of a gap in the market, this is not really an area that I would like to trade typically, because you can see here that the market conditions and the price action has just changed drastically. So what I would like to do is I'd like to start that a couple of hours later, once it started to, the market started to fill that gap and take its form for the day, take its shape. So often I would like to start trading my time, usually after that 8 p.m. session. So at 7 p.m. here we have the Australian Open. Okay, so that's the stock market in Australia. You can see there's a bit of volatility there, but then it starts to pick up around that Asian market here, and you can see there was a trade I could have taken at 8 p.m. But that's usually when I would like to start my bot and try to get some of these movements around here. Okay, so if I was talking about, if I wanted to, so let me just now turn the bot off, and if I press enable, click that again, and then go apply, what that does is it turns the bot off. Okay, you can see now it has disappeared from my chart, and the D means disabled. Okay, I do need to check that there are any open orders, and I can do that by going up to orders over here and just checking to see if there are any orders that are still in play, but I've been playback, so there wouldn't be any orders in there at the moment. Okay, so you can see here I've automatically set it to start after the Australian Open, but I could change that to start at this. If I'm putting this in here, making sure I tick start stop time, this is saying start the bot at 8 p.m. Even though it says 8:15, remembering that we need to choose the next candle on, because that is going to be the first candle of that session, which is the 8:15 candle. So if I was to move across here, you can see here we've got 7, 8 o'clock. So that's 8 o'clock is actually not this is actually the 7:45 candle. So really the 8:15 here is the start of the session. This is when the session would start at 8 o'clock. But I need to make sure I put it as the 8:15. Hopefully that makes a bit of sense, but we do answer those type of questions in our Discord. Any questions you do have about this video, please jump over to the Discord and ask them in there. We'll be able to give you some support. I often don't like to run Surfer during the US daytime, just because of the high volatility, and I'm really looking for breakouts, and often you can get some really good breakouts during the night time, and I like to get all my money earned during that night time so that I can do some manual trades and use some different other bots during the US daytime. So I often like to finish my bot usually around that 6 a.m. mark. Okay, so it's that 6. Type in here, I would like to finish that at 6 a.m. Okay, that's giving me a good time to make some trades. Often I only really want to make 1 or 2 trades using the Surfer bot during that time, and I'm quite happy with that. If I'm talking about using take profit of 5 ticks, that's a decent amount of money that that's 10 ticks in 2 trades minus your commissions. That's a fair bit of money, and I'm happy with that. But for today, I'm not going to use the start and stop timing. It's pretty easy to turn off and turn on. Okay, what it will do is it will only trade that period and then wait for the next day to trade the same period and so forth. But I would always recommend to go back, check your settings, check your parameters, check the market conditions to see what was going on, if there's any news throughout the day. Often there's news at the London Open, news at the Australian Open and so forth. So it's important that you do check these parameters. Okay, I will though look at using the profit and loss targets. Okay, so if I'm using 5 ticks and I'm using 4 contracts, that's $20 a tick. So that's $100 that I can get from my take profit minus my commissions. So if I get 2 trades, it's $200 and so forth. Okay, so maybe I'm looking for $200 in this session today. And only if I'm using a $25,000 Apex account, that allows me a $1,500 drawdown. Obviously, I don't want to put in here $1,500 because that's going to blow my account. But perhaps I'm quite happy to risk, because it is an eval. Maybe I'm happy to risk $750 in that first first in this session to get my $200. Okay, obviously your profit and loss is going to go up and down, but we were able to aim for that $200. But I'm going to set this. My go-to is I don't really particularly want to lose more than $500 in a session, especially if for an eval. If I'm only after $200, that gives me a nice little ratio here. The good thing about the Surfer is it is a high win rate. It has a very high win rate for the larger time frames. Obviously, the smaller time frames we go down, the win rate is going to get less because it's going to take a lot more trades. But the 15-minute one I've found to be very successful, and you'll find that in my Discord. I talk about it all the time. For that 15-minute, 30-minute, 20-minute, 10-minute, for those higher time frames. Okay, so I'm going to look for that $200 in my session, and then after that it's going to stop. I'm not going to have to run a start and stop time because I've got my profit and loss target. Okay, and now I'd like to enable this bot. Okay, and what you'll find now is not only do I have better move the playback out the way. Not only do I have my bot activated with no time settings, now the bottom down here you can see that I have a profit and loss target. Okay, I'm targeting $200 for a loss of 500. I'm going to have the net profit as we go along, and you can see here it's if the target has been reached, it'll say true. At the moment we haven't reached that target yet, again obviously because we haven't started the bot. As this goes through, you'll see that as soon as we reach that target, it'll turn to true, and then you won't take any more trades. Okay, so let's have a look at this today. I'm going to run this at quite a fast speed just because we're going to take a few trades. And look, we've taken our first trade for today, and there's our first $100. That happened, you can see, around that midnight trade. So that's one trade for the day, sitting at $100. You can see that the waves will just now keep forming based off price action. I'm not considering, now that time has moved on, I'm not really considering this open. So these time frames, these little spikes are not going to impact my these trades during this time. You can see we've moved past that initial spike down over here. So that's not impacting what's going on with my price action. I'm just reading the charts, looking at them, ensuring that I'm happy with the way the bot is working. The no bottom trough has been formed, or now it has. So then what will happen is you can see the values change up here. We also get moved down here. I'm just going to pause it for 1 second. What you'll find is there was a order putting down the bottom here, and as price approached that wave trough, so down the bottom, the order was placed. But as price moved away, that order was taken away, and then so now we have no orders in play. And the way the bot works is as we move closer to our wave edges, you'll find that orders will be placed and removed. So often that means that when you're running tests in the strategy analyzer and back testing, you often find that trades are not taken because you need the live data in order to put all the trades in. Okay. Yes, if we're using tick data, you'll get all the trades put in, but this is not in the back testing. It's not necessarily tick data. Okay. But as you'll see here, as we move closer to either the wave top or the wave bottom, you'll see the order being put back in. So let's just keep going with this. Let's play. So we're kind of moving close to that top point. So we've put in, we've got getting a bit of a pullback here, which is great. I love to see the pullbacks just before we get to the top or the bottom. You can see now we have a new wave crest, so a new wave high because of that pullback, which is great. I do like that pullback. Often you find with that pullback, price will then shoot through it. If you find that price goes straight to your wave crest or your wave trough, it can be a bit dangerous because of slippage, high volume, or even it could just pull back quite instantly. That's why I do like they do for that pullback. And you can see we've got that water filled, and immediately there was a pullback. You can see, but because we were only after 5 ticks, we were successful in getting that. Often, if you try to go for something more, okay, you're going to get that pullback and you're going to get that loss. That's why we aim for small, profits. Take profits. And you can see now that we actually have reached our $200 for the day, and so now the bot's not going to take any more trades. It's just you're going to keep going as the day goes on, but no more trades will be taken. And I'm quite happy with $200 on this account. Just 2 trades for the day, 100% success rate. Nothing crazy, but I'm just going to pause it there. The idea of the Surfer bot is to not be run 24/7. We don't want to be running any bot 24/7. One, because we can't manage it, and because the conditions change. We're going to have different opens throughout the day, different volatility, news coming out throughout the day, and you just got these spikes that we can't predict. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to use our Surfer bot in a smaller range, so a smaller time frame that we can predict what is going on. Okay, and during that US nighttime is a fantastic time because we're not going to get that high volatility. So you can actually watch the bot and you're not going to get much slippage during that US nighttime. Okay, during the daytime, during opens, it's quite crazy. And you can see here we were lucky to get that one here, but there was a decent pullback. If we were aiming for maybe 8 or 9 ticks, we would have that pullback and be stopped out, and then it would have gone through. So it's quite dangerous time to trade. My recommendation would be, once you have chosen a time frame that you're happy with, look back and try to find an area, sort of a range of time that you're happy to trade with, and really focus on that time and turn the Surfer bot on for those few hours. Okay, for me, starting it at that 8 p.m. and then running it to like 2 or 3 o'clock, there's a good 5 hours in there that I'll often pick up 1, 2, 3 trades a day on one particular account. And there's no reason why I can't press this plus button down the bottom. Okay, create a new chart. Maybe I would like to use crude oil. Okay, whatever it may be. Okay, run it on a 15-minute crude oil chart and go okay. And do the exact same thing. Add my indicator. Okay, maybe I'd like to run this one on a 5 swell and go okay, apply it on. Okay, and then add in my strategy. Okay, maybe I'd like to use a different strategy, but I'm just going to, because we're doing the Surfer, I'm going to put the Surfer on this one as well. Okay, we're going to add that. Okay, maybe for crude oil, because they have larger tick sizes in regards to money, maybe I'm only going to risk a 15 and I'm really going to only look for a take profit of 3. Maybe I'm only going to run 3 contracts. Okay, obviously I've got the same swell. I can turn the timing off and on, and maybe I'm looking for a larger take profit or whatever it may be. I can turn this on or turn it off as I please. If I'm running 2 bots at the same time, I would recommend that you don't use the same account. Okay, just so that you don't get overlapping and doubling that drawdown. Because if you've got one trade happening in NQ and you're in a bit of a drawdown, a couple $100 drawdown, and you've got a trade happening on crude oil with a couple $100 drawdown, that's combining to that $400, $500 drawdown on your account. Okay, so you want to make sure that I often run different accounts in here, and then that's the way we diversify. I have a number of evaluations and a number of PA accounts that I like to use, and I'll diversify by running different bots on different accounts. At the end of the day, whether I make 200 in this account, 200 in this account, when I get my payouts at the end, it's all coming from the same area. It's just that I'll have different accounts. Okay, and then I just go, when I'm happy with that, I'll just click enable, and we go apply. And you can see we now have our bot separate on this one. You can see as it's gone through, you can see there's some trades here that it hasn't taken, whereas some trades it has taken. That's just because in the playback, it's not using that tick data, so it's waiting for that price to move down, and it hasn't actually done that. But if you were to watch it live, you'll see that it does take all the trades. If you have any further questions, please do join our Discord and ask those questions there. But I hope that I've given you a bit of an insight of the Surfer bot today. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.